Hello, guys, and welcome to this new podcast I'm going to be doing. It's going to be called How to Go Pro. Um, the basics of this podcast is it's going to feature a pro player, a coach, a organization owner. It could be a caster, a known personality within the Smite community. It's going to be once a week on the Friday of that week. We'll see how long we can keep it going. But this is going to be the first episode. The reasoning why I'm doing this is because one of the most common questions I get on my stream when I stream in my YouTube comments is, EmilZy, how do you become a pro? EmilZy, how do you take it to that next level? What does it take to be a pro, etc.? And I think there's very little information out there about this topic, so I really wanted to talk about that. And I figured, what's not a better way than doing it in a podcast? So we're gonna have some different perspectives on it as well. I'm kind of gonna be hosting. We'll be talking about a few questions, etc. But today we have the player's perspective. One of the very well-known players, support like myself, JeffHindla. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm really excited to be on the show.
That's awesome. So, kind of the first question for you. You seem like you've been together with Barra forever, right? Like, what is your story and what was your path to become a pro?
So yeah, I have been with Barra an overwhelming majority of just being a pro, but I did some stuff beforehand. There was a lot of lesser known stuff, but the very first kind of team practice squad I was on I think it was called Vex NAEU, and it was a mix of North America and Europe players because I believe at the time the servers weren't split up.
Hmm.
And I played like middle lane. I was awful at it, but I was really bad at it. But it was just kind of like a group of players that got together and like, hey, we kind of want to improve. Like, you're pretty good. You're pretty okay. I'm pretty okay. Like, let's start scrimming, right? And it
Hmm.
wasn't. I don't even think it was called scrimming then. I think it was like just playing against other, groups of 5 people.
Uh-huh.
Um, so that was the first thing. That didn't last super long. I don't think we ever did any tournaments or anything, but it was just kind of a group of players. I'm like, oh, this is kind of like competition, right? Like everyone's here trying to improve.
Yeah.
Um, and then after that, I was playing normal games or something, and I was destroying the enemy team, and I noticed this other guy, he was playing Vamana, was absolutely destroying everybody but me, and I was destroying everybody but him, and it ended up being Kiki. And I'm like, do you want to group up so we don't have to deal with each other for a little bit? Like we can just do this together, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and he's like, yeah, sure. So I ended up playing with Kiki, and we got onto a team with Gunmetal, Riddick, and Harry Goatnads,
Hmm.
and that was kind of the first team I was on, right? Like actual, you know, not just a practice group team. We did some online stuff. I think it was we participated in a LAN event where 2 teams went to the LAN and everyone else played from online. It was a really weird setup. We got destroyed in it, uh, but that was pretty fun.
Hmm.
And then and then a bit after that, we were together for a while, probably a few months. I ended up joining Denial, um, which was me, Pain, Pawn, Mace to the Face, and Rushed.
Hmm.
And that's where I went to my first LAN. And that was sick. That was like PAX Prime 2012, and like it was like the first LAN I went to was like it was PAX. It was this big giant like just gaming convention, and it was so cool. The setup was really weird because we did it in a Twitch booth, and we didn't have like seats like this. We had like stools that we sat on, and we did it at the Twitch like stand or something, and
Hmm.
like but it was amazing, man. And we came in second in that, and I was like, oh, this is great. I love this feeling. I love like playing in front of people. Like we didn't have like a crowd setup kind of like how we have now for Smite. We
Hmm.
had people sitting down behind us, like on the floor, watching us play, and like it was amazing, man. Um,
Yeah,
that team
definitely.
event. Sorry, go.
Yeah, definitely the good old days, right? I remember that picture of you guys standing there, like pawns as
Yeah.
well, everyone. Yeah, so after that, what happened?
Uh, so after that team started running into a good amount of issues. We went to two more LANs. One was a charity LAN. It was just us and I believe I want to say it was Dig at the time. It was like the last SAP
Mm-hmm.
Shadow Q team. It was only two teams. We lost that, and then we ended up at launch tournament, and we came in dead last at launch. I'm pretty sure. I don't think we won a single game there.
Yeah.
And that was rough. The team was, people kind of getting upset, like, what's going on here? What they like, you know, what happens when you're losing type thing. And after we lost launch, Barra kind of came up to me, and I met Barra for the first time at launch, and I kind of ended up on the team. They like, they're like, I was like a eighth seeded team, and I think they came in third at that thing, and they
Yeah.
were destroying everybody online. And they're like, do you want to play with us? We're kind of having some issues with our support. And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I remember talking to my parents about it though, because again, this is like a long time ago, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like obviously I want to join this team, right? But like, am I good enough? Like they're really good. Like, and we just, like I'm doing fine, like on my own, but like I just came in last place, and like I think that like even though this team didn't win, like I think they're basically the best team in the world right
Yeah.
now. Like this is just so weird. Like why would they want like me? And you know what I mean? Like why?
Mm-hmm.
Like what's going on?
Yeah.
But yeah, my parents were like, yeah, no, like you take this. You always take this. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I take it. And then been playing with Barra ever since. And I fucking loved it, man.
Uh-huh. Yeah. What talking a bit more about the parents. What has your parents been like? Because I remember when I started playing and I wouldn't come down for dinner, and I was like, can't you just pause your game? So that's before the pause function obviously was introduced. Not that you're gonna pause scrims regardless,
Yeah.
but my mom would just go out and like pull the Ethernet cable, and I'll be really, really, really upset. And that's a big part of the reason why I couldn't really get like consistently on the team, because I had to eat.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I see your point. I totally see that
Mm-hmm.
being a thing. So in the past, my parents used to be pretty like when I was younger. I definitely had my Ethernet cable ripped out. I had my
Uh-huh.
computer ripped out of my walls a lot. Like, what are you doing? You're just playing games. Get
Yeah.
downstairs. Eat dinner.
Yup.
But with Smite, it was always a little different. When I went to my first LAN, they're like, "Oh, like you're going to an event for something." They were still pretty skeptical about it for a long time. Like you have to go to school, you have to make sure you're doing this. So like, this can't be your first thing for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they came around to it. And when they came to their first LAN, and I think really that was it. Like they came to a LAN and they saw what was going on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like, oh, like my son's just sitting there like inside the
Yeah.
internet, like throwing away everything else, and he's just sitting online doing nothing. Like, and they realized it was something bigger
Mm-hmm.
than they were. Ever since that clicked in their head, like they've been 100% my biggest. It's not even comparable.
Mm-hmm. So what about like what land was that first of all? Can you remember it all?
I
Year?
know, man. I'm trying to think.
I'm
I'm really
challenging
trying
now.
to think. Yeah. Were they at First Worlds? I want to say they were at First Worlds or
Uh-huh.
Second Worlds, but it might have been one of the it might have been like Super Regionals or something they went to.
Mm-hmm.
But I know my dad talked to F Dot, and F Dot kind of explained it better than I
Yeah.
could because it's
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to explain things to your parents and them to actually kind of see what you're talking about type thing.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh yeah, you're just defending your point no matter what. Like you can't
Mm-hmm.
look at anything objectively. Like this is just what you like doing. So like you're just gonna make up anything for
Yeah.
it type thing.
Yeah, I had
Uh,
especially for me as well. I kind of had the same experience, especially since I was so young. My first LAN was the not the Super Regionals, the SPL kickoff in, was that 2013 or 14? I'm not sure.
yeah.
Where I went as a coach for Team Coast or whatever. We got second place, and I couldn't go alone, so I had to bring my granddad. He was like, "Oh well," he didn't know what to expect. And then you come into this really professional. You get picked up. You have a nice hotel. You get like driven to the studios in Cologne. And what actually really changed his mind was he talked to Todd Harris, because he's kind of a businessman himself, you can say. And when he just sat down and like explained everything to him, that's when I got that accept. And when he came home and told everything to my parents, at least, they did not pull out the Ethernet cable after that LAN ever again. So it's just been full support from here as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. It definitely means a lot to have your family like behind you with what you're
Hmm.
doing, right? Yeah, 'cause it's just it's a super weird thing, and once they understand what you're doing, it's like it's a big relief, right? It's a lot off of your back. Like you just don't have people hounding you like the people that you live with, right? Like go out there, get a job, go to school. Like what are you doing? Like you're wasting your life. And it's like no, I'm not. Like I'm glad you finally see this. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, exactly. So I guess we can talk a bit about this right now. What would your tips be to players that like want to become pro? It's kind of to stick to the subject, how to go pro. About the parents, how do you convince your parents that what you're doing is not just in some basement somewhere where you're gonna smoke some fat ones and drink some cola? You know, how do you
Yeah.
convince them that this is an actual thing and it's super professional?
Um, I mean, so obviously, if you're going to the events, right, trying to get them to come.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not going to an event, right, and you're not a pro yet, and you're striving to be that, uh, I mean, what else do you do other than show them like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a regular LAN. Because I mean, there's plenty of pictures out there from everyone's point of view, right? Like there's pictures from high res's point of view. There's pictures from players' point of views, fans' point of views. Like this is what like, and you take out your phone, like this is what's going on here. Like
Yeah.
here's the stadium they like not the stadium the the venue they play in here's all the people that like show up and attend like here's what's going on, here's the studio, like, and you have to show them what it is, like, because it's really hard to kind of wrap your head around it if you don't have any background in it for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can definitely see it. I think maybe showing some of those like after movies from Worlds would be a good shot. Like the E United did one. I know
Yeah.
Rival are doing one as well. I think just showing them and that kind of shows behind the scenes as well. Get some good pictures of the crowd and like, oh well, there's actually 3,500 people here cheering. It's not a joke. Get the USA chant, you know. That's like one of my favorites. Moving on a bit, what do you think was the hardest part for you about going pro? Was it like a special moment? Was it pushing your mechanics? Was it learning the whole pro scene, the meta? Was it bonding with people?
um so for me it kind of goes back to like kind of the path I was talking about right
Hmm.
before, where it was like the all the teams and then joining COG. Um, when we were on, or when I was on like smaller teams and kind of lesser known team, it was a lot of individual play that was driving everything, right? Like, oh, you're good, go do good things, or like you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was very ranked. It was very much like ranked.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't fucking fly at all in
Nah, nah, nah.
competitive. So that was probably the hardest switch for me because coming off like a last place team, the reason we came, a big reason we came in second at the first line we went to is because we were just individually playing well. We
Yeah.
did not have great team cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
Things happened to line up well because while we were all making individual plays, but that's also the same reason it kind of fell apart because everyone was just doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to play as a unit, play effectively as a team, helping people, and taking trades and actually playing the game, or playing the game with people as opposed to just playing the game alongside people. I guess I don't know how
Yeah,
to phrase
I
it
get you.
properly.
So I think with learning a big thing about this whole team cohesion thing as well is just trusting your teammate, right, as well, making sure that you know that your mid laner is going to hit that top folder, you know that the barrier is going to hit that crucial basic attack, that's the border between like life and death. Do you have any tips, how do you create this healthy funny team environment? And I think at least it goes for me, if I've had good friends on a team, I've had a lot easier time like trusting them and talking about mistakes, etc., which I think is a very important thing to be able to do, so you can get this trust in each other. What's your tips? How do you get this trust going?
Um, so yeah, coming from like building a good team atmosphere.
Hmm.
Yeah, I definitely think it's really important to just be able to be open with everybody, right?
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, if you can't tell somebody that you have a problem with what they're doing, or like, hey, I think like this train of thought's kind of wrong. Like, here's my reason for it, and for like, you have to be able to tell them that, right? You just have to. And if they take it poorly every time, it's really hard to kind of trust them for it,
Hmm.
or because like, okay, like I get like it's your job, it's your role, but like, dude, I'm on the team too. Like, I think this is incorrect. You just have to be able to talk to people, and if you can't, then it's really hard.
Hmm.
But as far as just kind of trusting people as a whole, uh, whenever I play with somebody, someone who's new or someone who's I haven't played with a lot, I just kind of start off with trusting them, right?
Hmm.
As opposed to not trusting them, because like, hey, you're here for a reason. You got picked up for a reason. You're with us for a reason. I'm here. I'm with you for a reason, right? I'm not. You don't ever really want to be playing with somebody that you don't think is you don't think is trustworthy. So I just start off with trust, pretty much. That's me specifically. I don't know if that's different for other people, but I don't know, man. You're playing with them for a reason. You should
Yeah.
give them the respect and the trust at the start. And if things sway down or up, then obviously you talk to them about it and you try and adjust.
Yeah, so I guess I can actually have some insight here, right? Because by the time this video is out, everyone's gonna know I swapped team now. I'm on Energy, and that means that I've had to adapt to adapting and all that. That's a good one to all the boys, especially Emily too. Getting this new dual lane partner, being on the same page in everything you do, something Nate and I got really good at, sitting down and always discussing, always playing. But like gaining trust, and I'm already really good friends with all the guys on the teams. Um, didn't really talk too much to like Emilito or Yaman or adapting before. Of course, a new maniac. But for me, sitting down, also outside of scrims, outside of practice, just being able to sit in that voice channel and play out their games. We picked up on this tower defense game where we're getting completely smacked by a rival that's also playing it. Or we're gonna play with like some of the Dignitas boys and just being able to sit down outside scrims, being able to have a healthy team atmosphere where you can talk about things, where you from the very start don't like point fingers at a specific person, and if you say something, it's constructive criticism. And of course, you need to be able to take it yourself. And I think I've really felt that right now, that it's actually going really well here. The first few scrims we just finished the scrim session, and just being able to sit down and talk about the things. And I think if you can sit down after like an argument or where you a disagreement and agree to something, that's also gonna help you like get this trust that you can tell your teammate something. Yeah. Moving on again, add to the next question here. What do you think is the thing people underestimate the most about being a pro? Is it the time to practice? Is it the pressure from the fans, the family? Is it just like time in general? Is it very time consuming?
So I think it's for me anyway. It's kind of like a two-part thing out of those three, I guess. For me, it's not necessarily the pressure and
Mm-hmm.
everything. Um, but it is definitely it's a lot of time, man. And there's definitely, don't get me wrong, there are definitely pros and exceptionally good pros that can just scrim for a couple of hours a day and then be like, I have no idea how they do it, right?
Yeah.
There are people like that. I'm not one of those people. So it's a lot, man. Like, you sit there and you stream for hours and then you scrim for hours. And then after you scrim for hours, you're done, right? Then you're done.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not done, because then you're watching people's streams. You're going over VOD. You're doing VOD review. I mean, at the very least, you're just thinking about the games
Mm-hmm.
always for hours and hours after that. But it's just kind of, it really, for me, it's an all day thing, right? It's not just it's not just to show up for a couple hours and scrim. It's okay. I wake up, I get coffee, I go to the gym, and
Yeah.
then I play Smite until you know late at night, and then after that I watch streams. I rewatch other people's VODs. I watch my VOD. Like, it's just all day, man.
I guess you can say I felt that on my own body, right? Because I went to school, and I
Yeah.
don't do anymore. I dropped out, and I was like, I didn't have time because my daily schedule would be like I would wake up, go to school, come home at like 3 in the afternoon, then do my homework, which would take like 2 or 3 hours if I had to do my assignments every day as well, to get proper prepared, get some food in with the family, get dinner, then I'd scrim, and then I'd have like 1 maybe 2 hours if I said I don't want to sleep, to do whatever, if it would be streaming, making a YouTube video, saying hello to a friend, like whatever. That got the better of me, because I've had that thing that you talked about where you can just scrim 3 times a day, but at a certain point it just doesn't work more. Like, at least that's what I had. So now I have to play a lot as well to stay on level, and I think it's very, very time consuming. I almost feel like after I quit school I have less time for everything, because there's so many things I feel like I should be doing now that I don't go to school, but it's still so time consuming. Like on a normal day I wake up, where you go to the gym, I'm gonna start my stream early, then I'm gonna go to the gym, see some friends, and then eat, and then it's just scrims, and then it's watching streams, playing games with the boys or whatever it is, right? It's just it's more than a full-time job, right?
Yeah.
You could say it's a lifestyle. I don't know if I want to push it that hard. Yeah.
That was actually the second part of what I was gonna go into.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. So obviously, right? For me and you, we've established this is a pretty consuming thing, right?
Yeah.
And I love that. I definitely love that. But your schedule is significantly different than kind of everyone else who doesn't do this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure what time. Honestly, I'm not sure what time it is there, or what time you guys normally scrim and finish scrimming.
Yeah.
But in North America, we generally end the day around 10:30 or 10.
It's the same here, right? Start around 7 and in the evening.
Yeah.
And we had afternoon scrims now, because a lot of the pro players don't have work, don't have jobs, because they can focus on Smite now. So I think afternoon scrims are going to be seen more, at least in Europe. But we have double scrims today, as an example. I have to scrim in 1 hour and 20 minutes again, and just have to keep going, keep staying on the hashtag grind. Do you have a third point?
The kind of what I was trying to say about that is, so when you're finishing your day, your minimum requirement of the day at like 10:30, ish, what do you do after that? It's not like you can't really be like, hey friends, do you want to go out? They're like, no, it's like 11 o'clock, man. I'm going to sleep. Like, and that definitely took a long time for me to get used to. Just like, oh, I finished my day at 10. Like, it's 11 o'clock now. Like, who wants to hang out? Everyone's like, get out of here. Like, no, it's too late for us. I think that's definitely something that's pretty overlooked for sure.
Yeah, I get you. That's how I've tried to establish mine, is that I stream while my friends are at school, and then if they don't have too much homework, hopefully I can go and visit them. But it's only gonna be for a few hours, because then I have to like take a bus back home and be ready to scrim, right? Is there anything else you wanted to add to this topic, or you wanna move on?
That was kind of that's what I got. Yeah.
I get you. So now to a bit more like of a deeper question, I guess you can say. Have you ever had like one point in your career where you're like, this is enough, now I want to give this up, now I want to give up this whole lifestyle, I want to move on, do something else with my life?
So I mean, has the idea ever crossed my mind? Sure, right? And I think that's kind of just part of being a person, like constantly, evaluating where you are and reevaluating, like, hey, am I happy here? Is this good? Is this bad? Like, is there something else I could be doing? Is this the best for me? And, it turns into that whole thing. So has the idea popped into my head? Yeah, of course it does. You know what? You know what I mean? Like, you do something for a set amount of time, like, maybe I could be doing something else. But have I ever seriously entertained the idea? Not really. This is what I love doing, man.
Yeah.
So, no, is the short answer.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess that leads us into, which was going to be the final question, but we do it now, I guess. Why do you do it? Like, why do you keep doing it? Why do you love it so much? What is it that makes competitive Smite awesome for you?
Hey, just straight up, I love Smite. I really do enjoy the game a lot. This is the only game that's come anywhere near holding the interest that I still hold for it since like I was like in middle school playing World of Warcraft, and that's when I
Yeah.
was also having my computer ripped out of my walls too, because I'd be playing that like 18 hours a day. So that's the only other game that's done like kept me this locked in and focused on it. But I just love competition, man. I love competing. It's something, it's something I'm pretty okay at, and I can improve at. I can see myself, improving at it, and I can compete against people who are also giving it their best. So I just love that part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. And I guess last question here is, what would your single best advice be to an upcoming player? If someone asks you, Jeff, I really want to go pro. I've been playing for a while now, but I'm just not getting there. What do I do?
Um, yeah. So what do you do, man? The way I don't know if it's still the way to do it, but every single game you play, treat seriously, right? Like, so I mean, you can hop into every game and treat it like a game.
Mm-hmm.
But if you hop into every game and do your best to treat it like a scrim, you're always looking to improve. You're trying to see if what you did was right or wrong, and like, just because things don't work out doesn't mean it was wrong, and just because things worked out doesn't mean it was right. Type thinking, or type of like line of thought. Just look to constantly improve. Honestly, ask people on teams for tryouts, or just try and destroy everybody in ranked, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally
Yeah.
go out there, and if you try super hard every game, dude, someone's got to notice you at some
Yep.
point if you're just destroying everybody, right? Like, they've gotta. Uh, I don't know, man.
Yeah. Well, I think that's definitely very suitable advice. Is there anything you like want to add besides that? Is there any a certain attitude or something that like favors
Uh, yeah,
being able to be a pro?
yeah, man, you gotta be able to take criticism, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to, for sure. Like, if someone's telling you you're doing something wrong, you can defend your point for sure, but you have to, like, not like some random in a ranked games like, I hate you, this was wrong. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
obviously
yeah.
you can blow that off, but like, if someone who you respect is telling you you're doing something wrong, you have to at the very least consider their side for it, right? At the very least, you have to just be able to be like, oh, you're a good player. There's probably a reason you're thinking like that.
Yeah.
So let me entertain this and kind of get behind what you're saying and see how it stacks up to like what I'm thinking. Um, and I don't know, man. Just try and be easy to work with, right? Like, it's it's a lot harder to have people want to work with you when you're a dick. Like, it just
Yeah,
straight up is.
exactly. And I think a very important part here as well is even where you are now, and if you're talking shit to someone, you might have to work with that person in the future. Like I myself, I had my spam laugh battles against Emil, but like now getting to know him, he's a super awesome guy, and like really enjoy playing with him already. And I just don't go too ham. That one person might be on that one team you want to be on in the future, and it might block you from like not being able to take that final step. So I think yeah, be nice, be able to take criticism. That's good. Yeah. So this was the first format of how to go pro. I don't think I got to explain it too well in the start, but I'll try again real fast. This is going to be the player's perspective. Basically, we had Jeff here. Jeff talked a bit about what he thinks it takes to go pro from a player perspective, where next week I'm pretty certain we are going to have Mr. DM Brandon on, and DM is going to be like this expert perspective. He knows so much about the esport, right, and everything that comes with that. So we're gonna do it with him. The format, as I said, it's gonna be this 25, 35, 30 minutes conversation that Jeff and I had, where we just talk about it. And I really hope that you guys out there like it and like are able to listen to it. Make sure to leave any constructive criticism, feedback, anything we should be doing, I should be doing down here. I'm sure if you have like any really good question for Jeff, I can pass it on to him of myself. And yeah, I wanted to thank you so much for coming on, Jeff.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
Uh huh.
This was pretty sick. You came to me
Yeah.
with the idea. I'm like, yeah, I would love to do that. Please, thank you.
That's awesome. Make sure to follow Jeff on his social media. That's down there. Make sure I point correctly. JeffHindla on Twitter, JeffHindla on Twitch, JeffHindla on... Yeah, that was really good. And JeffHindla on YouTube. And make sure to press the like button, press the bell. We'll be doing this every Friday for a while now. So I hope you guys like this new video idea. comment, everything. And until next time, guys, as always, peace out.